For all the latest from the world of motoring, hit that subscribe button and stay connected.
The Mahindra Mojo finally came to us in late 2015 and was a well-rounded machine. Right out of the box, it was a tourer's delight, but then there are always the ones that see beyond the set guidelines. Today we are joined by Aravind, who has taken the Mojo and transformed it into something really special. Hi Aravind, it's great to have you here. So before we look into detail as to what all you've done with your bike, let's start with your journey with the Mojo. How did you choose this bike?
Hi Evan. Back in 2015, when I wanted to change my bike to a more serious touring machine, I had looked into Mojo, CVR 250 and the Royal Enfield, and I test drove Mojo for a particular half an hour of time.
Okay, they give you such long test.
Yeah, they give you such a long time. Yeah, they give you such long time to experience the machine actually.
Okay.
And I did the test drive, and I felt the engine to be pretty stable at high speeds. I did a highway run at that time, and I felt the engine to be pretty stable and it would suit my character. I didn't want an aggressive bike which the 390 would offer.
Yeah.
I didn't want a Royal Enfield because few of my friends advised it for the vibrations and the things. And CBR 250 was a best option and a better option, I thought. But after test driving this Mojo, I felt this would suit my character and my physique, which is pretty comfortable ride to ride as well. And I looked it for the look as well as the sounds of the bike.
Okay,
so it was pretty decent, and a twin silencer always adds to the character. So the look that attracted me first, and so that's how I choose Mojo over the other players in the market.
Okay, now you said you love the engine, and the Mojo is not your typical engine. Even for the 300, it runs a rather relaxed engine. How has your experience been with it in real life conditions?
Yeah, now that you've spoken about the engine, that's the best part of this bike. It's a very relaxed engine, and you can do highway, you can do triple-digit speeds on a highway at a very comfortable pace. You won't feel the stress that you're riding for a long time.
Okay.
But that's because of the seating position of this bike as well. And so since the engine is very relaxed, you can do a highway very comfortably, and in city it is not that hard either. So you can still cruise around the corners as you wish. And traffic riding it's also best. Engine doesn't heat up too much.
Okay.
There is that is the heat. The hot air gets dissipated everywhere easily. And
you were telling me you took it to Ladakh as well earlier.
Yeah, this bike actually one of my friend, we took it to Ladakh. I did the Crown of India. Okay. And it performed very well there. Okay. It was freezing conditions. And
no starting issues.
No starting issues. The fuel injection works very well. Okay. We didn't have to do any adjustments. Just the chain lube would work. Okay. And with that condition, I drove all terrains in Ladakh. The toughest part of the ride I had was from that's still Kargil. It was full of slush. With the stock tires, I was still able to manage that. But I would suggest people change the tires to reach there, because Pirellis would not actually support that kind of road.
But coming back to the engine, you said on the highway. But how about the mid-range? Is it good?
The power actually comes to you at the mid-range. That's the best part of this bike.
Okay.
You get the power when you need at the mid-range, and you can cruise at triple-digit speed all through your day.
And the gearbox and everything
is perfect. It's butter smooth at sometimes, and the initial first is a few gears you feel it, but once you go to the
lower RPMs
maybe a little jerky, but once you reach the 3000 and 5000 RPM, it is smooth, and you can do that speed which you want, and it has got enough power to left for you to overtake. You can do top speeds as well.
Okay.
But that is not the characteristic of this bike.
What would be the comfortable cruising speed?
I would suggest you somewhere between 95 to 100, 110. Okay. You can still not stress the engine and ride. Okay. But if you want, you can ride it around at 140 plus. If you are still comfortable.
But then 120 should be
120 is very comfortable. You will not. You will get a little bit of wind blast at that speed, but that is manageable. More than 150, I think you would have a problem with the wind blast since it's a naked bike.
And then there's a huge tank, 22-liter tank.
Not to forget that this 22-liter tank adds to the character. I get a you fill this tank and you fit to forget, and you fit it, you ride for a longer time.
Okay.
So it gives me a range of around some 580, and I will do long rides, and highway mileage comes close to around 30-31, which is very decent for a tourer.
Yeah.
And yeah, so overall package of a tourer is what we choose.
Now the Mojo is a touring machine, but then it has got a long wheelbase and it's very stable on the highway. But that makes it a little bit less nimble because even it's heavy as well. So how has your experience been with it in terms of handling and braking?
Yeah, about the handling, I've taken to different conditions, different terrains, off-roading, slush, highways everywhere. The bike handles pretty well. It is not a cornering junkie machine. I would not suggest you if you are that much into cornering junkie. It would not, because of the weight of the bike. You cannot actually lean the bike to greater angles. But yes, you can do a bit of cornering because of the tires that give you Diablo also to give you enough confidence to take the corners. And yeah, in city it is pretty nimble with the stock conditions. The front is fit.
Even with the longer wheelbase, it's
with the longer wheelbase, it is quite nimble. But with the stock conditions, you have a heavier headlamp setup. So that feels little heavy on the front side. But if you get used to it, and if you start riding it for a longer time, you'll understand the bike, and that's when you can start nimbling through the traffic. So for me, I felt the front was heavy for the nimble. So and it was little tough to actually maneuver the bumper to bumper traffic. Other than that, it is quite very good to handle on highways. And all terrains, off-road, it's performed beautifully.
What about the ground clearance? Any issues with that?
Ground clearance, I have not had such issues so far. I've took it to Ladakh terrains, which was very
the tough one.
The toughest of what I've took. I had only few places where actually my lower cowl touched the ground. Other than that, the normal speed breakers, it takes up easily. It is not of a problem on a city. The potholes are all matched up well with the suspension, so it is not much of a problem. And for the braking, this has a front 320mm disc, which has good stopping power. Along with the Diablo 2 tires, it gives you good combo. It gives you the enough punch you need to stop. The rear brakes, I feel it should have been little better because of the weight of the bike. Again, with the front compared, so this is 70-30 ratio, so 70 on your front and 30 on your rear. So along with the engine braking, so I mostly do engine brakings to get the performance and the brakings. So compare along with the engine brakings, if you do the 70-30 on the braking, so it feels little good. And for the tires, I think I don't need to tell you about the Rosso 2. Those are the best in the market, and it gives you enough grip, good stopping power, gives you on the mud slush, it stops as you need.
But don't you think it should have got ABS?
Yes, at this price point, I wish this had ABS. But I hope that it comes as a plug and play when they launch, and that would be adding to the character of this bike. Because the one thing that I feel that this lacks is ABS in this particular variant. Yeah, and for the off-roading, this performs very well in off-roading as well. I've taken it to Ladakh. I've changed the tires to Timson, the bottom one, and then this being a heavy machine with the Timson tires combined, it took up these shocks of the road beautifully. And we could actually stand up and ride, so we didn't have a problem with that.
It looks like a proper road bike, but it can handle
handle off-road. Yes, it does handle off-road very well. And yeah, the normal roads of us, it's also taken up beautifully.
That's also
an off-road we do sometimes. That's also is taken up. And the front suspension is beautiful. The inverted USD takes up all the shocks you need. And for off-roading, yeah, I think I suggest you change your tires because these stocks will not such as off-road.
So what are the running costs on the Mojo, and how has your support been from the service center, and how has your experience been with the service center?
The service cost would cost you around somewhere close to 3 grand for the service.
That is including oil change?
Oil change, everything, oil filter clean, every brake check that everything is done. The service is pretty affordable compared to this segment of the bike.
Okay.
And service from the company, yes. I do my bike service in Nuffs Motors, Bangalore.
Okay.
So I have a good support team and service team there. So they take care of the bike very well. And they understand the bike and they understand my concerns if I have any.
Okay.
So I let them know and they fix it immediately. So
Good experience, good service support.
Yeah, I have a good service. Personally, I feel I have a good service support from the team. And
Okay. What about parts cost? Spares essentially.
yeah, for a bike of this price, I think the parts are pretty affordable, except for the brake pads.
Okay.
And the rest are all affordable prices. Clutch plates are affordable. Chain sprockets are affordable. Compared to the other bikes in this segment, I think the maintenance of this bike is pretty on an affordable range.
Okay, now and finally, please take us through all that you've done to your bike. It looks absolutely spectacular. So let us know what all the changes you've done.
Yeah, so let me take you through that. I've changed the headlamp to Z1000.
Okay.
I liked it because of the aggressive looks it has, and it adds the character of the bike.
It looks way better now.
Yeah, I wanted a street naked version of Mojo, so I thought the street naked version would suit best with the Z1000 headlamps, and luckily I had this offered by a friend of mine from Nuffs Motors. And the mudguard from the front is from Benelli 300.
Okay.
So the stock mudguard did not add to the character of the bike after this headlamp setup was made.
Okay.
So I had to change the front mudguard. And the handlebars are from Himalayan.
Okay.
So because I lowered this to a little aggressive position for the street naked, so I had the stock handlebars would be touching the tank. So I had to change it to Himalayan. And the rear tire hugger are from FZ. The stock was actually spoiling the character of the bike. It was too low.
Okay.
And I thought this FZ225 tire hugger would suit the bike. And the indicators I've adopted from the KTM 390.
Okay.
So the LED ones are little flash in night. And
what about the paint job? The beautiful paint job.
Yeah, the paint job is the one that looks best on this bike. And it is the initial paint job I wanted. I didn't like the gold variant of the bike.
Yeah, there's too much gold on it. The chassis.
The chassis. The gold did not add to the character of the bike.
Okay.
And I thought the gunmetal grey would go along well with the black. And I had a friend of mine in Chennai do this. And I had a help from Anand in Nuffs Motors who helped me fix all this. I had a vision and he helped me fix all this.
Brought it all together
And told me, okay, this can be done at this way, at this level. And yeah, so on a full setup, if you see, the bike is good. And yeah, I've had a lot of attention since I've made this mod. So it feels good to actually have a Mojo and still feel unique about it.
So Aravind, thank you so much for being here and talking about your Mojo. It's truly unique. I'm sure a lot of people are going to ask a lot of questions in the comments below. So do reply to them.
Yeah, of course, yes. Thank you, Evan, for having me here. And it's a pleasure explaining about the Mojo I have. It always felt unique, and I'm happy to help anybody who has any questions about this mod in the comment section. Feel free to ask me. I'm here to help you.
So guys, what do you think of this Transform Mojo? Do let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching and please do hit that subscribe button.